Welcome to this week's podcast episode. I've brought on the happy and healthy guys, Dr. Rob and Dr. Randy.
Hey there, it's great to be on. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes,
Thanks, Heather.
If you guys want to give a little intro, where do you live and what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are based out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. So as the Happy Healthy Guys, our mission really is to be able to bring a happy, healthy lifestyle to 1 million people in the next 3 years. And I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more about what that actually really means as far as what a happy, healthy lifestyle is. But that's, quick snippet of who we are.
Yeah, and I'm in transition, actually, Heather. I'm moving to Dallas, which is exciting. So it's going to be great to be there with Dr. Rob. And as much as we travel and go, being by a major airport is going to be a lifesaver. So I'm so thankful to be moving when we get back from Vancouver this next week. So.
Totally.
Well, and Randy, if maybe you want to start, what happened to bring you guys to this whole happy, healthy lifestyle?
Yeah, it was kind of some life interruption that hit us both. Specifically with me, this was back July 2010. I was diagnosed with late stage cancer. And I know we had talked about that. And so we're chiropractors by trade. I've been in practice about 8 years. And, that's the last thing I thought would ever happen to me, because I'm the one teaching everybody else how to be healthy and be proactive and live a. So when I was diagnosed, I was really taken aback. And of course, the cancer was very aggressive. It had spread into my lymphatic chain, down into my liver, and into my stomach. And they gave me 2 months up to 2 years to live. And guess you can imagine what they offered me: chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, drug trial, or hospice. And so I'm like, what's option 6? Like, get me out of here, because I had seen this play out with enough people that I knew and cared about who went through the standard of care, and they weren't alive to talk about it, unfortunately. So that led me, my journey led me to Spain, and I had heard of a doctor there who is getting incredible results with patients, not just cancer patients, but really patients that were chronically ill, that were kind of left for dead. And so I got over there. We just connected philosophically. I didn't want to treat the cancer, Heather. I wanted to look at the body as a whole and create an environment where my body could heal. And the environment I was in was not allowing that to happen, obviously. So just treating the cancer would have left the same environment, if not making it worse. I was there for about 5 weeks. And within 5 weeks, the cancer was gone. And it's been over 8 years, and very, very thankful. And Dr. Rob actually went over there with me. He was actually suffering with his own health problems at the time. And the irony of this whole thing, at that time when I got diagnosed, we were traveling and helping teach and coach other doctors how to take great care of themselves and their patients. I'm given a death sentence, and Rob can't even walk. And we're getting ready to go speak on stage at a seminar. And it was just insane how things had laid themselves out. So maybe let Dr. Rob share kind of what he went through and his journey too, because he did go over there with me to Spain, and there's a cool story behind that.
So I'm little, I can't walk. I injured myself about a year before Randy was diagnosed with cancer. So in my thinking, being a chiropractor, chiropractor with a back problem, there's a little bit of irony with that, I'll get over it really quickly. Everything is going to be great. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I had an MRI done, and I had 4 blown out discs in my lower back. The disc between L2 and L3 was blown out about 12 millimeters. So the neurosurgeon is like, you got to get surgery immediately. And I'm like, no way, Jose, I'm not doing that, because I know what happens with people that have back surgery long term. So I know what the stats are on that, and it's not good. So I searched literally for an entire year trying to find somebody who could be able to help me to be able to get my back going the way it should be, get all healed up. And it just wasn't happening. So I finally got to the point where I'm not standing, I can't walk, excruciating pain going down my leg. I literally had this stool that I would wheel around through my office just to be able to see patients, because I couldn't stand up anymore. I was miserable. So Randy then decides to get diagnosed with cancer and go to Spain. And so we're like, all right, let's get you healthy. But our epiphany came, and this was what was interesting. We were like literally getting ready to speak at a seminar like Dr. Randy was saying, and it felt a little artificial because as we're getting ready to go speak and we're like, we are a mess.
Oh,
So
man.
we're getting ready for our talk. We're trying to figure out what we're going to say, and we don't know. We're like, just blank. And so the piano player, like to have in lobby bars of hotels, the piano player starts playing the song "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey. And it sounds so cheesy, but this message from 1980, the 1981 classic "Don't Stop Believing" was our epiphany that we're like, you know what? We know that health is the norm, that our bodies were designed to heal and to be well, and we just can't stop believing in that. We just have to figure out how to be able to create this environment for our bodies so that our bodies could heal like we believed in. And then that was the same weekend that we were told about this doctor in Spain. And then Randy literally is on an airplane to Spain as quickly as possible. And so I'm thinking, okay, he's going to go over there. Everything's going to be great. I get a message from him that's like, you got to get here stat. So I'm thinking, all right, he was already like gray. He had so much nausea that he wasn't holding down any food. He lost a ton of weight. And so I'm thinking, I don't know what's going to happen when I show up to Spain. Most miserable plane trip of my entire life, 8 hours on a plane with excruciating pain going down my leg, from my back down into my leg. Airplane seats are not conducive to that. And so I finally show up there limping into the hotel, and I see Randy so the hotel is on the southern coast of Spain. It's in Marbella, and it's beautiful. So the hotel literally sits on a beach. So I finally find Randy, and he is laying on the beach, and he looks better than ever. And I'm like, I thought you were dying. Why'd you make me come all the way down here? I can't even walk. And he says, well, the reason I had you come down here is because the amount of stress that we were under there in the United States was part of what gave me the cancer in the first place, or why I didn't have an environment for my body to be able to heal. So if I didn't text you that and tell you to come down here stat, you probably would have never come down. I couldn't give you any more information than that, or you would have logically just decided to go ahead and stay home. And so it was the best gift that anybody could have ever given me because of what it is that we learned there in Spain, both with the protocols that were being taught to Dr. Randy, but also just learning from the culture there, how to be able to not take life so seriously, how to be able to slow down and allow yourself to have an environment where stress isn't literally just killing you. So thank you, Dr. Randy, for that gift. Best gift I ever got. So I appreciate that.
Love you, girl.
Can we touch on the whole dis-ease? Because I definitely come from the mental aspect of any illness in the body, especially cancer. And think about, I know 20-somethings that keep coming with cancer, right? So talk about the dis-ease in our mental patterns or thinking and how it creates ailments in the body.
Yeah, no,
take that, Dr. Randy.
Yeah, let me jump in. You can probably contribute, obviously, as well. But I think what you're saying, Heather, that's very important because there really isn't disease. There's no such thing as cancer. It is dis-ease. Your body's not at ease. It's not adapting. There is zero difference between health and disease. It's the exact same thing. It's the body doing the right thing under the circumstances. So what are the circumstances? What's the environment that you've created that's allowing your body to either adapt or it's not? And stress is stress, whether it's chemical, physical, or emotional. Your body can't tell the difference. It's like either I adapt or I don't. Emotionally for me, mentally for me, physically for me, I wasn't adapting at that time. So you can imagine going into a doctor who wanted to treat the cancer and not look at me as a whole and help me change that environment where I knew that health is the norm, that the body's always trying to heal you. It was just doing whatever it could under that environment that I had created for myself. So I love that. And I think that right there is a big part of living life happy and healthy, is understanding that you can influence your environment, right? And you can make decisions and choices that can turn things around. You don't have to be a victim, right? You don't have to turn your health over to an insurance company or a broken healthcare system that really has failed us on every single level outside of emergency care. Yeah. Dr. Rob, you want to shed some light there too?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, they just like you said, there is no such thing. There is no such thing as disease, right? It's dis-ease by the body. So we're all taught to look at all of these different things as being the cause of the quote disease or condition, where the reality is that our body, because health is the norm, because our body was created to be able to heal and to be well, when it's at a lack of ease is when the disease starts inside the body. So even with myself, structurally speaking, my body structurally, as far as my spine goes, in the lower part of my spine and my lower back, was not at ease at all. And so at the same time, I was running marathons. I have an injury where I fall off a fence, and because my body was at a lack of ease down in there, it was completely unstable, blew out the disc. But what I also knew is, because if we got my body back into a better position, it could be able to heal and to be well. So structurally speaking, I had to address that. And then, like Dr. Randy was saying, is we also had to address the mental component of it as well. And so that's one of the things that we always said, chiropractically speaking, is that, the first thing that we want is we want people's minds before their spines, because if they understand that and they believe that their body was designed to heal and to be well, and they know why they would be getting their adjustments to be able to put their body into a state of ease, then they'll continue to do that for the rest of their lifetime. But if they think that the problem is an outside-in job, in other words, meaning that, some kind of bacteria or virus or whatever it is what caused the problem, they keep on treating that, their body will never be at a state of ease. And that person really can never be able to be well, mind, body, and spirit. So we have to look at everything as a whole. And that's what Happy Healthy is all about, is looking at the body as a whole to get that body into that state of balance or that state of ease. So better things are a lot more likely to happen.
Since so much of the Western culture is, everybody's medicated, right? And I truly, I'll go to doctors for an annual exam, whatever, but antibiotics, no thanks. But if so much of the Western culture is toxic environments, I mean, what is the Happy Healthy? What are you guys doing to pull people out of that toxic shit?
Great question, right? Go ahead, Dr. Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say, the first thing that we have to do is like we said, we have to change their mindset, right? We have to understand, or we have to get them to understand what got them into that situation first, because everybody always wants to know, what do I do, right? So we have customized weight loss offices called Happy Healthy Thin offices. So it's funny because people come in and they're like, hey, I want to lose 20, 30, 40 pounds. Tell me what to do. Well, what you first need to understand is what got you into the place that you're in right now first, if you truly want to be able to not just lose the weight. And that's why people come in. But the reality is that we're showing them how to get healthy. The side effect is that they lose weight. So if we can be able to show them and change their mindset first, then they'll change their actions, right? Because it's your thoughts, right, that create your words that then end up creating our actions. So we have to change the thoughts up here first to be able to truly change that Western culture, thinking that it's an outside-in type of a thing. So if it's an outside-in thing, then it's just going to be a pill, potion, or a lotion that's going to kill that outside thing. Meanwhile, the host or your body is dying a very slow and sometimes a very quick death, depending on how it is that you're treating it.
Yeah, health and healing is an inside job. There's no doubt about it. That's what the body does. So I always say, if you're not getting the result you want, and really in any area of your life, more specifically your health, you could be asking the wrong questions. And the question you should be asking is, how do I build health versus treating disease? And a lot of times we're reactionary, waiting for something to go wrong to go to a doctor to get some quick fix or some magic pill. And health and healing doesn't work that way, right? Your body's either building health or it's building disease. What environment are you creating? So that mindset change, Heather, like you talk about so much, is so critical. If you don't know how powerful your body is and that it was built to be well and that health is the norm and disease is the abnorm, then you're going to struggle, because that's really what saved my life and why I ended up in Spain, is the same belief in knowing that when the body gets a fever, it's just trying to heal you and it's not trying to kill you. Knowing that your body's designed to heal, it's an inside job. That's why I went to Spain, because I didn't want to treat the cancer. I wanted to, let's keep that same mindset, right? The same truth that's in the light is the same truth in the dark. And you really find out what you believe when you are thrown into the fire. And I was thrown right into the fire. We've all been thrown into our own fire. What are you anchored to? What do you really believe? What can you count on? What can you trust? How do you measure your health? What is health? Are you building it, or are you just letting it slip by the wayside because you're not making those daily investments?
So for both of you, what happened 5 weeks is really a quick time. So
I
in
know.
those 5 weeks, what were your epiphany or aha or the takeaways that you're like, holy shit, I got this?
Yeah, I think getting over there, I did struggle with my mindset a little bit, because that's really the battle you're going through. You're vacillating back and forth. Am I going to live? Is this it? Is this how I'm going to die? Is there anything else? So I really struggled. So I was there for about 10 days, Heather, just throwing the biggest pity party. It was a Sunday morning. I'm just, woe is me. I'm going to die out here. I just was really struggling to get a hold of this. And I woke up. I said, I've got to break the cycle. I got in my car. I drove to the very southern tip of Spain. It's a famous windsurfing beach called Tarifa. If you ever heard of it, this may be like 8 hours south. And from the coast, you could see Morocco. I drove by the Rock of Gibraltar. You got the mountains, you got the Mediterranean Sea, the beach, the beautiful people. And I was getting overwhelmed with its beauty. And it's like this audible voice, like no doubt, came out of the sky. It was like, you're so enamored with all these things that you see, yet none of those things were made in my image. And I created you to be healthy and well with great purpose. And it just like this light went off for me. And from that moment on, everything changed. And that's where I really got victory there with my mindset, knowing that my body I was going to make it. I was going to be okay. And I think that's sometimes the most important thing. There's no incurable disease. There's only incurable people, right? And it all starts between our ears. So my philosophy was tested and proven correct in my most tumultuous time of my life. So all it did was further anchor me to know that health and healing is an inside job, and it starts here.
Rob, what about you?
For me, gosh, for me, it was watching Randy go through this, because seeing is actually believing, right? Sometimes there's those little bitty seeds of doubt, that can be able to creep in, and just watching him go through this, seeing him heal, seeing the cancer not be in his body anymore was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I can be able to heal and to be able to be well also. So when we got back, we said, all right, so let's figure out how to be able to not treat cancer, but to be able to treat people as a whole. And so I was like, let's do that with me. At the time, I can remember that I said, all right, if I don't go ahead and get healed up like right now, 30 days from now, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the neurosurgeon and go get cut on. And so I gave myself this time period. And during that time period, I would literally every morning in my meditation, I would visualize a healthy functioning spine. I would visualize my disc healing at the same time. And at that time, I was going through the same protocols that we had been using for Dr. Randy to be able to get well for myself. And within about a week, the inflammation in my lower back was completely gone. The pain that was going from my lower back all the way down into my leg was gone. And now I was also losing weight. So because I couldn't exercise, I was stressed out of my mind. I had gained over 65 extra pounds. And so over a very short time period of about so within the first week, the inflammation's gone. But within about 6 months, the 65 pounds is completely gone, healthier than I'd been in my entire life. Here I'm now 8 years past that. The weight never came back. The inflammation is still gone. I can be able to do things that I could not do 9 years ago. And so that was it for me, is really just being able to see, to be able to help with the belief side of things. And then the mind is like, okay, I got this. You know what? If he can do that, I can do this too.
Damn. And so now you guys are 8 years later, killing it. What is your mindset each day? Is it a morning routine, or how do you keep in this high vibe state?
I think, and Randy, we were just talking about this the other day, and we have conversations about this quite a bit, because his morning routine, Dr. Randy's morning routine, is very different than what mine is. So I keep it's easy. If somebody was trying to look for me, it'd be really easy to find me, because my routine is pretty similar on a daily basis. So for me, I get up. I've got a gratitude practice where I keep my journal close by. So I'm writing down the 5 things that I'm most thankful for. And they're like the simplest things ever. Like I'm thankful for this, to be able to have a pen just to be able to write with. I'm thankful that I, can be able to get up in the morning and write about what I'm thankful for on a platform like Instagram that can be able to help other people. So I write those things down, and then I meditate in the morning. I'm really vigilant about visualizing myself as seeing things as they've already happened. And so I really believe that really starts reconnecting the synapses in our brain to really be in alignment with our spirit and our soul and what it is, the intention that God has for our lives, not just now, but also into the future. So I'll visualize as well in the morning, and then I read in the morning. And after I do that, whatever revelations that I've gotten from that day, I write about them. So typically, and that's what you'll see like with my Instagram posts or my Facebook posts, and those are all things that are inspired as a result of what happens in my morning routine. So that's what I do.
Yeah, and so I never set an alarm clock unless I absolutely have to. I always talk about my life before cancer, BC, and then after cancer, AC. Before cancer, I was so regimented in my life with my, and there's nothing potentially wrong with this as long as there's balance on whatever level that looks like for you. But I was very legalistic in my workouts, my routine, my alarms, getting up. Everything was so regimented. And it's not how I actually vibrate as a human being. I'm a little more freelance and creative guy. And I just stopped doing everything that I did before I got cancer, and I just did a 180. So before cancer, I used to eat all the time, 6 small meals a day, and work out 10 days a week. So guess what I do now? I eat once or twice a day, and I work out 2 to 3 days a week. I used to always set an alarm clock for 4:30 or 5 a.m. Now I don't set one. I let my body wake up when it needs to wake up. I give my body a proper amount of sleep, but I do it in a way where it's not as regimented. And then in the mornings for me, I definitely wake up with gratitude. I'm thankful. I do focus on my breathing, meditation, relaxing. A lot of times I'll do an infrared sauna session to kind of detox my body. That's kind of a time too where I can pray, really listen to my thoughts, and get the day going. So it's funny how Dr. Rob and I are both so effective in our life, but do things a little bit differently, and that's okay. We just know that we have to invest in ourselves from now on, and we can never put ourselves on the back burner or not allow ourselves to laugh, have fun, or maybe not set an alarm clock for 4:30 every single day. Now, we do have to set one for tomorrow because we are catching an early flight. But when's the last time you didn't set an alarm clock and just let your body wake up and rest and not have to hear that banging noise from a clock or from your phone? What a horrible way to wake up. At least it is for me.
It's really funny because the way we work, we are really different. We're very similar in a lot of ways, but we're very different in a lot of ways as well. I think, which is why our partnership works so great. So we'll be asked to be on television. So we're on TV in Dallas quite a bit, and I'm the one that I'm like freaking out for that everything is prepared. We know what it is that we're going to say, and then I'll be like, hey, and I'll be like literally an hour before we're going on. And I'll ask Randy, hey, are you ready? Do you know what it is that you're going to say? He's like, no, we'll figure it out when we get there. And I'm like, what? And so we're completely different in that way. So I'm like, let's go through it. He's like, we'll worry about it when they say, okay, you're on.
Just put me there and press play. But what goes into that is all the preparation and work that goes into walking around and thinking and living that way. So for me, I'm always ready.
Well, and I think the key in all of this is because I used to do research on morning routine. What do I need to do to like make the best? And I read through and tried multiple people's, and then I made my own. And that's the whole point. You have to do what works for you. Yep. And I used to be so much like Dr. Rob, like total planner, very structured, and now I'm way more like Dr. Randy. And I'm letting go, letting flow, let life happen.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Process. There's probably a healthy middle ground somewhere. I always struggled with finding the gray. It was always so extreme. And after cancer, there's a lot more gray in my life, which is okay. It doesn't have to be 100% one way or the other. And that's been freeing for me. I just never want to be so high strung again with so much pressure that you feel like you have to take on. And I don't think that's good for anybody. So with Happy Healthy, we're really passionate about helping people even like yourself, Heather, and connecting with your group, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, people that are in this space, we blow through our own life, our health, our relationships, because we don't invest back into ourselves, and we are our own greatest investment.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Be okay with the gray.
Oh, and the hair, gray in the hair too. You got to be okay with that. I don't have a choice. Yeah.
I color mine.
Yeah.
Well,
you ladies have an advantage there.
Yeah. I'd like to wrap this up with some rapid fire questions for both of you. Whatever comes to mind, go with it.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
We'll do Dr. Randy first. What is a quote or motto you live by?
You have two choices. You can look up or you can look down. I choose to look up. That's from my brother, Ryan.
I like it. Dr. Rob?
Yeah, mine's pretty simple. It's by the great philosopher Stephen Perry from the group Journey. Don't stop believing.
Nice. What is a book you guys are currently reading or highly recommend?
Ooh.
Wow. I'm going to go back to the one I just read recently that I'm rereading again right now. You Are the One by Kurt Blackson. That's probably one of the best books I have read in a very, very long time. So hope I didn't steal that one for you, Dr. Rob. But I know you're going through some things now that you're reading, which is really cool. So I was hoping you were going to hear that.
Yeah, I can. I'm just trying to see if I've got it in here. But you know what? Here's the one that I would say, actually, the one that's on my mind constantly is The Happy Healthy Life, which is the book that Dr. Randy and I wrote. And so it's constantly on my mind because we're going through the final edits and putting things together on it. And I think it's really going to revolutionize the way people think about being happy and healthy once it comes out. So that's the one I would say.
Nice.
Okay, I changed my mind. That's the one I want to.
You can't change your mind.
So finally, if you wanted to give listeners one key takeaway with mindset, what would it be?
One key takeaway. I think the mindset is that you are enough, that God gave you everything you need to succeed and overcome anything. And you're a lot more powerful than you even know. And so I think just knowing that you are enough, that you are loved, that God programmed you that way. I think sometimes we can gloss over that, Heather, and jump to everything else when it's like, look within, stop looking outside of you, and know how powerful we're all created to be individually.
Yeah. And I think mine's going to be along the same lines is really believing that health, happiness, love are the norm. So to stop looking for things outside of yourself to make yourself healthy or to make yourself happy or to make yourself whatever it is, that just like Dr. Randy said, you are enough, and that is an inside job. And so if you don't have enough of those things, it's really time to look inside of yourself to be able to really just recapture that person who God created you to be. You guys, you both nailed it. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and introducing the Happy Healthy guys. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.